Hello, and thank you for joining us during this inaugural episode of Congratulations, You're In. Throughout each episode, we will explore the many steps that you as a Montgomery County high school student may encounter throughout your college application process. Together, we want to guide you towards those fantastic words. Congratulations, you're in. I'm Tony Spearman-Leach, your host, and joining us today is Jerry Schliffman, the College Career Coordinator at Gaithersburg High School. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. Let's dive right in. This is a very important topic. The big issue is, so you want to go to college. What does it really matter to my life?
It's going to make a big difference to your life. You're going to find out what it is you want to do with your life. You're going to have an opportunity by earning a bachelor's degree to almost double your income as opposed to having just a high school diploma. And you'll be able to move forward and make a difference.
You know, that's amazing, because I think a lot of students really forget that it is an economic difference in their lives. They will be doubling their income, and this is going to impact themselves and their families in the future. It's so important, but a lot of kids get scared about applying to college because I don't know what I want to major in. What do I do?
You don't need to know what you want to major in. You're 16, 17 years old when you're applying to college. Nobody expects you to know exactly what you want. It's okay to be undecided. Usually about 60% of all incoming college freshmen will change their major at least once. Better go undecided and figure out what you want. Experience courses.
That's absolutely fantastic to know, because I think that's one of the big fears of students. And the other thing is that this process has a lot of parts to it. There's a lot of forms, a lot of things you have to read, and I procrastinate because I get scared. What do I do?
Well, the first thing is you should stop, check out what it is your school, high school in particular, what their process is, what are they asking you to do. They have paperwork they want you to do. You also need to reach out for help. Make a list of all the things and start attacking it one item at a time. And if you need help along the way, go see your counselor, go see the college career coordinator in your high school. Montgomery County is unusual. We're one of the few places. Fairfax has someone as well. But other than that, I don't know any other school systems that have people that are dedicated to working with students on the college application process.
And so that's the key part. You hit the most important section. What is the role of the counselor? Because you're the nexus.
Well, the counselor actually needs to do an awful lot in the application process. They are very busy writing letters of recommendation because almost every single application requires a counselor letter. Most applications require a secondary school report. They all have to be put together, and you're thinking about this, the counselor is doing that for every single application the student makes. So if you have 500 seniors and 400 of them are applying to college and they're applying to 4 colleges each, those counselors are writing a lot of letters.
And they have hundreds of counselees and trying to make them
And that's not
best.
the only thing they have to do.
Right.
They have lots and lots of other things they're doing as well.
And you're trying to make everybody look as good as possible, and that's a hard job.
But that's a necessary job.
And let me ask you, is it okay for me to come in and ask you for help if I'm not sure?
Absolutely.
Ideas about colleges?
We have lots of tools that we can use that are available in all schools in Montgomery County. We can help you learn about different careers. That's the first thing. Do you have an idea of what you want? You don't need to know specifically, but if you have a slight direction, let's give you all the options that are available. You want to pick colleges. We know which colleges have those majors, the majors that you might be interested in, and you also want to pick colleges that are and universities that are going to have all of your areas of interest. Don't go with just one.
That's phenomenal, because that's something, again, I'm scared about. I have to pick one thing. And you're saying, well, wait a minute. If you're interested in 2 things, then find a school that has
both.
And my counselor can help me do that.
Yes.
See, this is absolutely fantastic to know. Are there any other things that counselors do that can kind of help the student along their path?
Well, the counselors can give you different information. They can guide you towards, tell you to go in and see the college career coordinator. They have all these tools. They have software. We can do it.
Well, hold that, and we're going to come back to it. You hit the key points. Jerry, I want to thank you for your valuable insights and tips at this time. Your help at this very moment reminds us all why the Montgomery County Public Schools are among our nation's best. We're going to come back to this right now. We're going to take a brief break, and then we'll be back for more information on getting to that point where we say, congratulations, you're in.
What is the difference between a photographer and a visual artist?
Well, the difference is not a lot. To put it simply, I'm a visual artist. Okay, I use photography, but I use other means to express myself.
Montgomery Community Media offers many courses.
Half the people getting to know these awesome people whom I work with and I'm learning with, and great teachers, and it's also like, oh, this is how TV works.
When I'm watching shows like talk shows or even, exercise shows, things like that, I look at it so differently.
That kind of like, there is a guy sitting at a giant board filled with buttons just pushing them. That makes sense.
We teach our students how to be the reporter, the shooter, and the editor for their very own news pieces.
This is a good opportunity to learn about different ways of documentary and editing.
My dad got an email from someone and he told me it was going to be a good opportunity to learn how to edit, shoot videos, and interview people.
It's really good, and you should come to MCM Backpack Journalism class because it's exciting and it's actually really fun.
MCM to me means opportunity. It's giving me the opportunity to gain experience on an actual show that airs on the network. And I don't think I'll be able to get that experience anywhere else. So it's been a great experience for me so far.
For anybody that hasn't taken one of the MCM classes, I encourage you, go out, try it, you won't regret it. You'll have an experience that you're gonna see how the cameras work, and actually an opportunity to be part of video production. That's what I would recommend anybody that's interested in MCM.
Hello and welcome back to our inaugural episode of Congratulations, You're In. Today we have Jerry Sliffman, the College Career Coordinator at Gaithersburg High School, guiding us to college admission success. Jerry, as we were saying, there's a lot that counselors do in the high school.
Yes.
And some of them are obligatory, some of them are optional. But when we get into all of that and we get into this contrast of what I have to do versus what I can choose to do or not do, a lot of students and families believe that teachers are required to do the infamous teacher recommendation.
Unfortunately, Tony, that's not true. Teachers do it out of the goodness of their hearts and because they want to see students succeed. They don't have to write a single letter of recommendation, which is why we recommend, as college career coordinators, that students go in person and talk to the teachers. Don't send your teacher an email asking for a letter of reference. You don't want to do that. You want to talk to them. You want to find out what other information they need from you. But they have no obligation whatsoever to write letters of recommendation.
So it's not okay if I go and ask my teacher to write a recommendation that I need within 2 to 3 days to go to that #1 college I want to go to?
If you know you have a #1 college, even if you don't, you need to give your teachers and your counselors 3 to 4 weeks lead time because lots of students are asking for these letters of recommendation. And as much as you want the teacher to put plenty of thought, time, and effort into writing you a quality letter, give them the time to do that. Absolutely.
That's an important point for students to understand. You're asking someone to help you with the rest of your life.
Right.
And so give them time to do a good job.
Yes, and don't forget to say thank you.
Thank you, absolutely. And then the other thing is that students and families often forget that the students have obligations in this whole process. What am I required to do as a student?
Well, you have a number of obligations as a student. You're obligated to understand your transcript and what it represents and how a college views it, to understand that grades and GPA on those transcripts are cumulative. It's not one marking period, it's not one semester.
It's not my semester grade?
No, and it's accumulation from the time you started taking classes that are offered in high school, which means for many, it goes back to middle school.
Wow.
So if you're taking Algebra 1 or geometry, or you're taking first year or two of foreign language, that's going to be part of your cumulative GPA.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
They told me freshman year wouldn't count.
Oh, well, in California it may not, but the rest of the country
here
it
in Maryland
does.
It counts.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing is that what are my parents and guardians, what are their obligations in the process?
Well, the parents and guardians have an obligation to sit down, as do you as a student, to sit down and have a discussion about how are you paying for college. There is no obligation by the college or university to offer you a free ride. There's no obligation to meet all of your need. And you need to have a conversation as a family or with your guardians of how you're going to gather those funds and pay, and what can you actually afford.
Yeah, because many students don't realize a college education, even from a state institution, over 4 years, can run over $100,000 to $250,000 or more.
Yes, it's very expensive. It's probably, think about it, it's a whole lot more expensive than the first 2 or 3, 4 cars you're going to purchase. And you think that's a big purchase, you don't want to be in debt like this.
And so it is a family consideration, because this is almost as expensive as buying a mortgage in Potomac. To put it in perspective for people, or in Bethesda, they're buying these beautiful homes, and I've got to figure out how I'm going to pay for it, and I'm a high school student.
Right. And it's better to have this conversation sooner than later. You don't want to be the student who, in May, after you've chosen, not only has the school chosen you, but you've chosen them, you don't want to be the one that all of a sudden has a conversation with their parents in the middle of May that said, I don't think we can afford this. You need to know going in what your options are.
Everyone, I want you to know that we are going to come back in a future episode. We're going to discuss loans and grants and scholarships. So we're going to get to how to finance this. But I want to thank you today for our phenomenal guest from Gaithersburg High School. Jerry Schliffman, you've done a wonderful job. You have enlightened us all. Together, we hope that we've gotten you a few steps closer to reading and hearing those fantastic words. Congratulations, you're in. Join us for our upcoming episodes where we will explore your high school transcripts and standardized testing requirements, the college application and application deadlines, such as early action, early decision, regular decision, the dreaded FAFSA and CSS profile, and submitting your families and your own IRS tax form or non-filer statements. That will include discussions of scholarships, grants and loans, and so very much more. Until next time, keep working toward your dreams until you hear those great words. Congratulations, you're in.